question you asked was how we intend to make some headway. Actually, the focus on New Hampshire is precisely for that purpose, to get around and see people, to be able to present my issue, to talk about what I think is significant for the people of New Hampshire. And I've done a lot of that. I'm learning a lot by being here. This is the 14th trip that I've made to New Hampshire. And you learn a lot when you do that. And what I've learned is this. People have told me that they're insecure about their jobs. They want to see a more robust economy. They're concerned because they don't think their kids necessarily have the best opportunity to grow into a career and to be able to make a life here in New Hampshire. That's what parents really want. And that has been the signature issue of my campaign. I'm concerned about the growth of the economy and the steps that need to be taken to grow this economy, and that has a direct impact on the people of New Hampshire. And then there's the second issue. The second issue is heroin. When I first came to New Hampshire, when the first trip I made, I sat down with Ted Gatzis, Mayor Gatzis, and after a long discussion, I said, Mr. Mayor, what's on your mind? What is it that's bothering you the most in Manchester? And he said, heroin. I was taken aback because I've been at this business all my life. I've been a defense counsel, I've been an elected prosecutor, I've been an attorney general, I understand the drug issues. I chaired, or I managed a multi-state drug grand jury, multi-jurisdictional grand jury. And, I was concerned about that. And then as I went back, I heard that people in Maryland are worried about it, people in my home state of Virginia are worried about it, and something has to be done. So I'm addressing that issue also as a candidate for president because it's a nationwide challenge and a nationwide issue.
Limited the debate process, and the way things stand right now, obviously, the debates we've had so far and the ones that are on the books that yet to take place, you're not qualifying to get on the stage. You're going to so-called JV team on these debates. How important is it, and what do you make the process about?
Well, first of all, I'm perfectly qualified to be on the stage. I'm better qualified than most of the other candidates. I'm not getting on the stage because I'm not getting on the stage because of an arbitrary power that's been vested in the establishment media to decide who gets on and who doesn't get on.
Ready for winter.
And I think that's wrong. It's not in the public interest. It's a violation of the public interest. And if the RNC is giving them any kind of authority like that, they're wrong. And to manipulate the process in this way is detrimental. Well, it's detrimental to me as a candidate, and not just me, to other candidates as well. But it's detrimental to the public interest.
What's the same with the Republican Party? The only two veterans who are running for president right now on the Republican side can't get on that debate stage.
I think it's wrong. Lindsey Graham has been an Army lawyer. I have been trained as a soldier and then assigned to Europe as an intelligence agent during the Cold War and actually resided there among the German people who were under threat at that point in time. And, that's an experience that is still valued, particularly in this time of crisis that we're seeing right now. The military experience of being overseas on behalf of the people of the United States is a valuable experience that other candidates simply do not have. And what do I think about the Republican Party? I think that the process is not good. And I think that there's no reason in the world why Graham and I both shouldn't be on this stage. The fact is that this process is eliminating a governor of New York, a governor of Virginia, a sitting United States senator, demoting the sitting governor of New Jersey, demoting the former governor of Arkansas, ignoring more or less the governor of Louisiana. What kind of process is that? But you know what? It doesn't matter. Sure, I'd like to be on the stage getting all that kind of attention. I'm not ashamed to say that because that's what the benefit that they're bequeathing certain selected candidates. So what? My job is to come here to New Hampshire and speak out to the people in this state who still can level the playing field. The people of New Hampshire have the ability to level the playing field. If they'll listen to people like me going out here and talking about the real issues of concern to the people of New Hampshire.
Going forward, Governor, what would you have the RNC do for the debate schedule?
Well, there's lots of things that they could do. If they wanted to provide real leadership, they could very simply divide the field of 15 into two, 8 and 7, and draw straws. Have two debates and draw straws. They could have done that. And then one candidate, maybe I'd be on the stage with Bush in one debate, maybe I'd be on the stage with Jindal in another debate. It'd be random, and at that point, they're not playing favorites and trying to manipulate the system and favor certain candidates by giving them publicity. Look how circular this is. The people who get on the stage get poll numbers. The people who get poll numbers get on the stage. Now, you know, that's not honest with the people of the United States. That is a dishonest process. But I'm going to come back to the point, because you asked the question for the process, and I'm going to give you the same answer. This is still America. It's still a democracy, and still an opportunity to speak out to the people of this country. And we start in New Hampshire, where people are going to vote in the first primary here in New Hampshire, and they care about these issues I'm talking about.
Are you campaigning as vigorously as some of your opponents, raising money as vigorously?
I'm raising enough money to run my campaign. We've already seen what happens when candidates overextend out there and spend too much money. My goal is to raise enough money to be able to run my campaign appropriately, and that means getting into this place. It means going to South Carolina. You're aware of the filing fee in South Carolina.
I know what it is here.
You know what it is in South Carolina? Well, the filing fee here in New Hampshire, I'm pleased to say, is $1,000. The filing fee in South Carolina was $40,000. And I raised enough money to pay that. Well, I'll do what's necessary to be on the ballot and campaign vigorously here and in other states as well.
I got to ask you, one of the candidates that's getting a lot of publicity right now is Dr. Ben Carson doing well in the polls. What do you think of some of his comments and some of the reactions?
Well, you know, I think that Dr. Carson, Ben Carson, is known because of his books. So if the press wants to scrutinize his books and ask him about what he wrote, then I think that's legitimate. We have a right to know what he's thinking and what he's doing. I am not one, forgive me, I am not one that decides that there's any advantage in running down the press. The press are trying to do their job. They're asking the tough questions because they think that the public is entitled to know the answer to some of the tough questions. So I'm not one that criticizes the press. I do, however, criticize a process that keeps the press away from certain candidates. And that's what this nomination process is doing. And frankly, the press is not without fault here. The press is picking out certain candidates and promoting those candidates and thereby giving them poll numbers. I've often said that it'd be great to be on Morning Joe. I'd love that. But it really is Morning Joe. It's Morning Trump is what it is. You know, he's on every morning, as a matter of fact, and that's really great for his poll numbers, which then helps him in the
Governor, is
process.
there any candidate on the Republican side who could not endorse him back should that candidate be nominated?
I would expect, as the Republican nominee, to support the Republican candidate. I have been a Republican my entire life. I've been elected Attorney General and Governor of the state of Virginia as a Republican. I've chaired the Republican National Committee. I do think we owe an obligation to the people of the United States to be willing to really look at our Republican candidates and really determine whether they should even be nominated or not. I do believe that we have a right and obligation to do that. I expect her to support the Republican nominee.
You've done a lot in your career, as you just talked about. How did today's rank up there? As you signed the files, how did that rank up?
I think it's a great experience because of the historic nature of New Hampshire. And because in this chaotic time, when there's such an effort to quash and squash and muzzle the process, we still have the liberty of the New Hampshire process at a level. It gives us still an opportunity to get out there and actually see people. On this trip, I've spoken to a very large rally of Republican leaders. I went to the University of Richmond, New Hampshire football game, and went up and down the stands visiting with just people. And you know what? Everybody was very nice, as a matter of fact. Everybody was very nice. My favorite story about this one, by the way, was somebody came running down the steps after I had visited the first 100 or 200 people or something like that. Came running down the steps and said, "I've really been looking forward to meet you. You are Governor O'Malley, aren't you?"
But for those who would say, well, he doesn't really think he's going to win this, and you're just in it to sort of get out and meet people and share your ideas, you would respond to that?
I reject that completely. I'm in this to win. I intend to win the election. Now, what has to happen is that the race has to begin to get down to the question of who is experienced, who's qualified, who can actually be the President of the United States, who can actually be elected President of the United States. And the race has to alter to get to that point for me to be able to successfully compete. But I'm not in this to make a point. I'm not in this trying to be in a cabinet. I've had a cabinet.
Is Donald Trump your biggest obstacle?
No, the obstacle that I'm facing right now is the high media focus on other people and a process that rewards poll numbers nationally. When really what we need at this point is to really focus on New Hampshire and the other primary states and give us an opportunity to develop.
Governor, you must be happy about this, right?
I am.
This is,
I like it. I like it a lot because, but not because, not because I'm wearing a nice suit and blue tie, but because it's an opportunity once again really focus people on the challenges that are facing the United States and especially New Hampshire, but the people of the United States. And what are those issues? A bad economy. I don't care what anybody says. Anytime you have people worried about the future of their children, anytime you have people worried about the future of their jobs, anytime you have people working in millions and millions of Americans working part-time that want to work full-time. And we know that anytime you have stagnant wages, everybody agrees we have stagnant wages. Anytime you've got mothers and fathers worried because they think their children are going to be sold heroin, which is going to destroy them. Anytime you have a national security challenge like we're facing today, with the pushback of the Russians and the Chinese and the Iranian deal, which is very, very dangerous, and a dissolution of the Middle East that is causing international guerrilla terrorist war. Now, all of you know here that I chaired the National Commission on Homeland Security for the United States, and Homeland Security and Terrorism for the United States for 5 years. Most of you know that I was the governor during the 9/11 attack, and Virginia was the second state attack. And as the chief executive, I had to deal with those issues. You know that I'm a United States Army veteran, and I've traveled worldwide, and I've spoken in on these issues. This is a moment of high danger for the United States. And this is no time to put an amateur in charge of the foreign policy and national security of this country. And I'm not an amateur. I may have been out of office for a few years, which addresses sort of the issues you're saying, well, he's not around and all that. The fact of the matter is that I know this business, and I know what needs to be done, and I have the background experience to back it up.
Governor, if you're watching the debates that are taking place throughout, what's your opinion or what's your feeling of the anger you're getting on the phone, pillows, TV, or,
Well, what I've been doing during debates that I've been excluded from has been doing the tweeting in order to try to explain my reaction to some of the things that have been going on. I'm beginning to question that now, though. I'm beginning to think there's just not a lot more to learn from these debates. These are now favored opportunities for favored candidates to be able to get an advantage. But I'm not seeing a lot more now of thoughtfulness going into it. So I think there's probably a better use than my sitting around watching.
this could be a better forum for you to get your beliefs out on issues and debate, where you're going to get your time. So.
I think so. I think so. But we need to recognize several things that are going on here. We've had a foreign policy that overextended the United States. And then in reaction to that, we now have a president who's been pulling back and sending a message of weakness across the world today. The result of that is that we are in high danger, and something has to be done. And this is what has to be done. You have to have a president who can speak with some gravity to these issues, real experiences, which many of our Republicans, frankly, do not have. You have to have a candidate who can speak from genuine experience and gravity about the challenges facing this country. Somebody who's actually been out there on the front lines in the Cold War and seen a potential adversary that was a threat to this country. We need to have strong presidential leadership. You need to get the sequester off of the defense budget. It is putting this country in danger. And when the Democrats demand conditions for the removal of that sequester, they are endangering the safety of this nation. We need to rebuild the United States military. We need to rebuild and re-equip the United States Army. We need to rebuild surface vessels. I know they care about the shipyard over here in New Hampshire, but the fact is that the entire nation depends upon the reestablishment of the United States Navy so that they can do their job. We need to have another combat brigade in the United States Marine Corps, one below that. We don't have enough Navy surface vessels to have an aircraft carrier on station in the Middle East. It's a moment of great crisis right now. These are very dangerous times. We just saw a Russian airliner blown up, and now the general belief is that that was a terrorist attack. We have challenges ahead for the United States of America. Presidential leadership has to explain these challenges and begin to prepare the people of the United States for the challenges that are ahead of us. These are the reasons why I'm running for president. This is why I'm out here trying to seek this nomination to represent the Republican Party that I've been a part of my entire life.
You brought up heroin a moment ago. It's fair to ask. You seem surprised to learn about a large problem right here in New Hampshire. And we went back home to Virginia to find out that people were worried about it there.
And Maryland.
And Maryland. In fact, you were surprised to learn this. Might suggest on something to follow up on this.
Yeah.
That there's a bit of a disconnect between, and you know the politicians are accused of this all the time, not really knowing what's going on in Main Street. So, what do you say to those?
But I will not deviate from prosecuting vigorously people who make money on the destruction of their fellow citizens by selling heroin. I will not deviate on this, and this is different from some of the other candidates. Rehab has its place, but we need to stand up for civilized society. I say when criminals make money on the death and destruction of their fellow citizens, that they should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. We should not be sending, as the president is, a reverse message that somehow that this kind of illegal activity is somehow okay and we should be lenient.
Governor Hillary Clinton's coming in here in about an hour. Have you ever got the opportunity to be on the debate stage?
Well, as everybody here probably knows, in April, when I was really beginning to address this candidacy, I stated on Luke Russell's show that I thought Hillary Clinton was disqualified from the presidency and that she should withdraw from the race. People looked at me at that time and said, well, who are you to say something like that to Hillary Clinton? And the answer is this: the next president has to be able to secure the confidence of the people in their own government. We've had a loss of faith in the American government. That's why we're seeing such anger and resentment and what's defining this race a great deal. What we're seeing is a necessity for the next president to be able to restore confidence to the American people in their own government, in their own process of electing a president. Hillary Clinton cannot do that. As Secretary of State, simultaneously, the Clinton Foundation was attracting money in from overseas interests. We don't know anything about this because she deleted the emails. Never mind the classified information. I know a lot about classified information. As an intelligence agent, I address those issues, and I can tell you right now that adversaries of this country would just love to know about the internal communications of the Secretary of State with their friends and relatives and business associates. They'd love to know whether it's classified or not. And these are issues with the deletion of these emails. That's a serious problem. The other problem is this major theme. She will probably do it right here. I would expect her to at this table in 1 hour, which would be income equality. We need a president who will restore faith in the free enterprise system of the United States, the growth of the economy, the opportunity to have people invest and to take risks in order to produce wealth and jobs and opportunities. The theme that Hillary Clinton is doing is almost very similar to that with Bernie Sanders, the pronounced socialist. This is not America. This is not the direction America should go. And if I had an opportunity to speak to Hillary Clinton in 1 hour, or debate her, I would say, number one, she's disqualified herself from the race by being Secretary of State and maintaining and eliminating these emails. And number two, we've got to go in a new direction. The direction this country has been for years now, a condemnation of wealth creation, a condemnation of opportunity, a saying that we ought not to have people trying to participate in the system. Time has come for a change, and that means that we have to encourage the growth of this economy and opportunity and wealth creation in this country.
Governor, do you think Ms. Clinton has kind of given you this opportunity to have some committee here? Because she's coming in next, and that's why a lot of people are here.
It is I who are giving her the opportunity.
Got that wrong, sorry.
You gonna stick around for an hour and talk to her in person?
Actually, I'm giving a foreign policy speech. I would hope that you all would abandon Hillary Clinton and come listen to my foreign policy speech. But I'm giving a foreign policy speech in just about an hour, so I will be there. But I look forward to her themes. I think her themes are exactly the themes that will elect a Republican president of the United States, and I expect to be that as well. Thank you very much.
Croc TV.